All right, let's talk about a name that you hear everywhere these days, from corporate boardrooms to late-night coding sessions, Microsoft Azure. But what is it really, and why has it become such an absolute powerhouse? Let's break it down. We talk about the cloud like it's this magical, invisible thing. Our photos are in the cloud, our documents are in the cloud, but have you ever just stopped and wondered, where is it? Like, physically. Is it just floating around up there? Well, spoiler alert, it's not. And the answer to that question is really the key to understanding a platform like Azure. So let's turn back the clock a bit. Not that long ago, if a company wanted to run an application, it was a huge pain. They had to go out and buy these giant, noisy physical servers, find a room for them, pay for all the power, the cooling, the security. I mean, it was incredibly expensive, super complex, and if you needed to grow, forget about it. This whole on-premise server room setup was a massive roadblock to innovation. But that was all about to change. And that change brings us right to our first section. What exactly is Azure? Well, you can think of it as Microsoft's definitive answer to that whole server room nightmare. Okay, before we can really define Azure, we have to get our heads around the big idea it's built on: cloud computing. And honestly, the simplest way to think about it is renting versus owning. Instead of buying all your own IT stuff, you just access those same resources, servers, storage, you name it, over the internet whenever you need them. For businesses, this was nothing short of revolutionary. It meant they could stop spending massive amounts of money up front and instead just pay for what they used, month to month. It's a total pay-as-you-go model. So with that idea of renting in mind, what is Azure? It's Microsoft's public cloud platform. I want you to picture a gigantic digital toolbox that's filled with over 200 different products and services. It gives absolutely everyone, from a single developer working in their garage to a massive global corporation, the power to build, launch, and manage their applications without ever having to touch a single physical server. And just to give you a sense of the scale we're talking about here, get this. A staggering 95% of Fortune 500 companies run their businesses on Azure. Let that sink in. That stat tells you everything you need to know. This isn't just some tool for startups. It has become the fundamental digital backbone for the largest, most important enterprises in the world. Now, a platform this massive didn't just appear overnight. It's been on quite a journey. It actually started way back in 2008 as a secret project called Project Red Dog. Then in 2010, it launched as Windows Azure, but a really key moment came in 2014 when they rebranded it to Microsoft Azure. Dropping the Windows name was a huge signal that this platform was for everyone, including open source technologies. And that evolution is still accelerating, right? I mean, the launch of the Azure OpenAI service in 2023 basically cemented its position at the very center of the AI revolution. So we know it's big, but how big? Let's pop the hood and take a look at the incredible global foundation that actually powers Azure. This is where we get the answer to our original question: where is the cloud? Well, here you go. The cloud lives right here, in over 300 physical, hyper-secure data centers. We're talking about massive, football field-sized buildings scattered all over the world, just jam-packed with servers, networking gear, and storage systems, all managed 24/7 by Microsoft. This is the real-world hardware that makes every single Azure service possible. Now, those 300-plus data centers aren't just sprinkled around randomly. They're very carefully grouped into more than 60 regions around the globe. A region is just a set of data centers in a specific geographic area, all connected by their own dedicated, super low-latency network. This is so important because it allows companies to place their applications and data physically close to their customers, which means everything runs much, much faster. And this global footprint, well, it's one of Azure's biggest competitive advantages. I mean, it's a fact. Azure offers more regions than any other cloud provider on the planet. And that gives businesses an incredible amount of choice and control over where their data and applications actually live. Okay, having a massive global infrastructure is one thing, and it's definitely impressive. But what does it actually let you do? That's where the Azure Toolbox comes in. First things first, you have to decide how much control you actually want. The easiest way to think about it is like making a pizza. You can choose IaaS or infrastructure as a service. That's like making a pizza from scratch. Azure gives you the raw ingredients, the servers, the storage, the networking, and you manage everything else. Maximum control. Or you could choose PaaS, platform as a service. That's kind of like a pizza kit. Microsoft manages the underlying stuff like the operating system, and you just focus on your application and data. You know, the fun part, the toppings. Finally, there's SaaS, software as a service. That's just ordering pizza for delivery. You don't do any of the work, you just use the finished product, like Microsoft 365. And within those different models, that Azure toolbox is bursting with over 200 services. You've got all the fundamental building blocks, like compute for raw processing power, storage for your data, and networking to connect it all. But it also has all these advanced tools for things like AI, machine learning, and the Internet of Things. It's that incredible variety that lets people build, well, pretty much anything they can dream up.
Now, with other big players in the cloud space, what really makes Azure stand out from the crowd? What's its secret sauce? Let's dig in.
Azure's secret sauce really comes down to three key things. First, its home field advantage. It integrates beautifully with the rest of the Microsoft world. For companies already using tools like Office 365, it's just a natural fit. Second, it's a leader in hybrid cloud, which is just a fancy way of saying it's really good at helping businesses connect their old server rooms to the new cloud world. And third, and this is probably the most important one today, it's leadership in enterprise-grade AI. And that AI leadership is no fluke. Through its deep partnership with OpenAI, Azure gives businesses secure, reliable access to the world's most advanced AI models, like GPT-4. This one strategic move, as one analysis puts it, has cemented Azure's position as the go-to platform for enterprises looking to build generative AI solutions. It was a complete game changer. So what does all this look like in the real world? Well, companies are hosting the most critical applications that run their entire business. They're running massive data analytics projects to make smarter, faster decisions. They're connecting and managing millions of IoT devices in smart factories and smart cities. They're totally revolutionizing how they build and deploy their own software. And they're doing it all on Azure. All right, so after all of that, what's the one thing you should really walk away with? Let's boil it all down in our final section, your takeaway. Here's the bottom line. Microsoft Azure is so much more than just someone else's computers. It is a complete global platform for innovation. It's the toolbox that gives businesses the power to build and run the applications that will literally define our future, all built on a foundation of trust, incredible scale, and cutting-edge AI. You see, this big shift to the cloud isn't something that's on the horizon. It's not coming soon. It's already here, and it's powering the world all around us. So really, the only question left to ask is, what will you build with it?